Hi everyone, it's Carolyn here to share another message today. This time we're not going to have a channeled message from the Lightkeepers. I'm going to continue along the vein of my video I did on first waivers shifting to 5D now. And I'm going to talk about some of the symptoms of that so you can start identifying within yourself when this is happening to you. So thank you everybody for joining me today. I'm Carolyn. I'm a channel, I'm a distance energy healer, and I'm a spiritual awakening mentor. And I offer these channels and messages for your awakening journey support. So thank you to everybody who's new today. And if you want more free content, check out Facebook, Purple Rain Healing. You'll get all these poems and messages that I channel, and they are beautiful. I put them up regularly 2 or 3 times a week. And then I'm also on Instagram under Carolyn Zaiser. Additionally, down below, you'll see in the description box a video I've created for you on health and wellness during the awakening journey and how to create flow in your body. So check it out and join me for more free content. So I'm going to jump right in and I'm going to talk about 10 symptoms. Now there may be more, and maybe I'll add one as we start talking. I'm going to try to give you my awareness of how it's playing out in my life, some examples as well. But as I said in the last video on this topic, this is extremely hard to put into words, but I'm hoping that when you get to what I am now calling a phase in the awakening journey, because as I've said before, and I've done this in my videos, I've identified some specific phases we go through in the awakening journey, all at our own time. This is another phase. And it is profound. And before I get into the 10, I'm just going to say, as I speak of these 10, you may say, well, I kind of felt like that before, or I feel like this on occasion. Yes, exactly. You get little blips on the screen of this, and then you kind of pop out of it. You kind of go back into your, way of living, your kind of 3D, move into, the higher vibrations coming in and out, 5D, 3D kind of thing. And then you have the blips on the screen of a lot of these things that I'm going to mention. But what I'm talking about here today is when you're in the chasm, again, referencing the last video, between the 3D and 5D, and you're ready to jump up into the next mountaintop, out of the chasm. As we're in that chasm, how do we know? Because when we consciously recognize things, it can be so much easier to deal with. And oftentimes, though, during this phase, we're not going to recognize it. So that's why I'm offering these symptoms today of moving from truly 3D to 5D way of living. And right now, we're kind of in, those of us in this phase are in that chasm. So 10 symptoms today. And remember, you may have felt some of these a little bit, but these are the full-on awareness, and you cannot not recognize these. Okay, so the first one is you're forced into a new understanding of habits you've been in. Okay, now that's either conscious or not. So what I have realized is the things that you kind of have known in the back of your mind are things you probably don't serve you now in this journey any longer, whether they be extreme things or small little annoying things that you do that just don't feel right anymore. You're going to be forced into an awareness if you haven't already made that shift and change when the higher self was giving you the little signs and messages in your earlier phases of your journey. Now you are forced to wake up again in that sense, but it's in your face. Now, the thing is, it can be conscious or unconscious. Sometimes that higher self will just shift something for you. And I'm going to use an example of a friend of mine. All of a sudden, they have lost some of their ascension weight, but they also had a major addiction to sugar. And what they've now realized is suddenly that no longer exists. Your higher self took away that craving or that thing, and all of a sudden you're weeks down the road and you're like, wow, I haven't had that for a while. And then all these other things kind of start falling into place as a result of that. That's one of the symptoms of awakening. Your habits are starting to be, again, these are not little signs and subtles, little blips on the screen and then they go away. They are full force in your face. Either you're shifting and changing, you're seeing it happen and you no longer have the thing happening, or you're really forced to consciously make the change yourself in the human way. And that's typically harder. I'd rather just have my higher self change the thing and I'm like, oh, that's nice. But that's not always the way it is. So know that you will be, in one way or another, given signs and messages of habits that you're involved in right now that may no longer serve you. And kudos to those of you who no longer have any of those habits and have done the work previously. So it's almost like, lots of times, it's almost like this phase is well, we kind of showed you a little bit early on and kind of, pushed you along. And now we're just kicking you out of the cradle, kicking you to make the shift and change. It is now time. There is no more time. You're moving to 5D. And consequently, we're going to show you what is left to be done. Honestly, it's kind of what it is, okay? Or it's also like that next phase that you're moving into with what you're currently doing. And it may be dramatic. And I'm going to get to symptom number 2. What you think is your path, what you thought, oh, this is my awakening journey. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm on. This is what I've chosen. This is the magic I've created. This is the business I've created. This is my path. This is what I'm going to do forever and a day. It may not be the route you're going to be taking. It feels as though it isn't any longer, or that it's shifting. Okay, and now they're showing me the bottom dropping out. Okay, yeah, okay. So they're showing it's like an elevator. All of a sudden, you're just sent down to a new level. Everything's shaking, kind of like an earthquake. Like what you thought was what you were creating out of the awakening journey, what you thought was your path, you may be totally going somewhere different or adding to it or shifting and changing things you didn't even realize. Now, maybe early on you had an inkling of it, but also, as I mentioned in the last video, you might not know what that even is right now, but you know something is shifting and changing. And that's where I've been. And I mentioned that in my last video. I went to this retreat thinking, honestly, that I was going to be given a sign of what I was supposed to do next, and that this was the part of the journey I was going to be on now for my work. And there lies the business that I have, right? That this is what I would be doing. No, that wasn't it at all. It was something completely different, which I'll hope to hit upon here shortly. But the point is it's like the bottom drops out of the thing that you thought, oh, I'm on my awakening journey. I know what I'm doing. I've been given all the signs and messages. I'm doing it. And you're supposed to be doing it, right? But now comes the tumbling down the hill that they're showing me. Oh my gosh. Okay, they just said Jack and Jill, what tumbling down the hill? Okay, anyway, needless to say, you're moving into something new. And sometimes you're just thrown down that hill and you're like, what now? What now? And it might not even be things that are actually physically showing up or happening. It might be how you feel about what you're doing, which may mean, symptom 3, that you're feeling super bored with what you're currently doing. You're feeling angst. You're feeling anxiety around the work that you're doing. Or the path you're on, or whatever it is, or the relationship you're in, or name it, okay? And I just keep using my analogy of my journey with my work because I spend most of my time, with my business. And consequently, I will use that as my examples. But it can be anything in your life. But you're going to start feeling potentially bored. You're going to start feeling like, oh no, I don't want to do that thing. I want to just go out and... for me, it's like, I just want to garden. All I want to do is garden. I don't want to do anything else but garden and be in the dirt and literally all day long. Projects around the house. I like avoiding, like, I'm just going to be honest. I've avoided even doing channeling lately, which is a literal thing for me that I sit down and do poems all the time. Now, I know I'm going to still do it. Celeste and I have been doing channeled messages together. We've set up 2 different times to sit down and do them, and usually they just flow, no problem. As you know, you've seen our YouTube videos. Well, right now, we're both not feeling it. It's not time for another one, right? It's not time. But you're going to feel angst, boredom, like it's not the thing you're supposed to be doing, but you're going to feel total discomfort with that because you think that's your thing you're supposed to be doing. And you're supposed to do it on a schedule, and you do it regularly, and it's part of your life. Maybe not anymore, or Maybe you're getting a sign and message that it's supposed to just flow. So keep that in mind. Okay, so let's keep going on this, all right? So number 4, and this is kind of tied to the last one, but, and this is often severe, and I'm not trying to freak any of you out at all, because the more consciously aware of these phases, the more you're going to be able to go, oh, okay, this is, I just have to lean into this. But great angst, great suffering, a heavy feeling of the 3D. It sticks with you until you're made consciously aware or a change is made, okay? Now, when I say great angst and suffering, I'm talking more, frankly, emotional and physical. Lots of times the physical comes along with this. You may find some illness occurring. I'm fighting this same thing again, this sinus chest thing, and other little symptoms that are coming and going as we're shifting. But it is a suffering feeling. And what I have come to understand, okay, now they're showing me, okay, they're trying to describe this. They're showing 2 of me, and this is to help you understand it for yourself as well. 2 of me, one arm, one is reaching out to the other, like crabbing, and the other's grabbing and trying to pull the other along. And then we just split ways. This is us leaving that 3D way of living and being, and with it comes great angst and great suffering. Again, I go back to, you're going to know what it is in your life. It may not be your work. It may be your relationships. It may be whatever it is. There's going to be something that pulls you out that you've clung on to, whether it be the way you operate day to day. And in my situation, I am very much a let's achieve, let's create, let's work hard, let's strive. It's very 3D. I haven't let that go. I don't let that go. So you're going to find that whatever's you're holding on to, that, again, I keep using the 3D, but I think you all know what I mean, and that's hard to explain itself too, but the way we've come to think that life is and how it has to operate, it's going to split apart from you, and you're going to be clinging on to it, and yet the other you is pulling you away, and then you're going to split apart. Again, this is, oh, I have chills on that. Whoa, super chills, which chills for me is a big confirmation, an exclamation mark of what they just said. So again, I'm just going to say this is super hard to explain in the English language. And again, I hope I'm doing it justice, but there's nuggets here that you can take away, hopefully, at least something I hope will be useful to you. Okay, so we're moving on. Honestly, I don't know what number I'm on, so we're just going to go with the rest of these. You may, and a lot of these are tied to the others, but there's subtle differences. You may feel like a very extreme shift and change is coming to you. You may never have seen this at all. Suddenly, you feel like a completely different person, but your higher self is bringing you into your awareness that this is really who you are. You're opening up to the full expansion of you, the full expansion of you, not the human that you've been, okay? Not constrained by the ways we work or be or live or have relationships at all. You may be opening up into the fullness of you that is not well understood to you at all in the human 3D form. Now, depending on how far along you've come in the awakening journey and how well we've kind of listened to our higher self speaking to us, our signs and messages, whether we've turned a blind eye, you really know if you have deep inside yourself, if you really check in with your feelings. So the point I think here I'm making is to continue to, wherever you're at in the phase of the awakening, continue to do your work along the way, leaning into these feelings of what feels natural to you rather than continuing in the way that we have for so long in the human 3D. So again, this sense that you have, and it's kind of like a dark cloud, but it's got a silver lining, so always know that. It's heavy, it lasts a while. I mean, I'm not out of it at all. I have come into some awareness this morning, which I'll share with you, like I said, in a bit, but it can be very extreme. Shift and change is coming your way. You may not understand it all. Again, remember, you're in the chasm. You're in the chasm. Some of us, as I mentioned last time, are seeing what it is. And they're like, oh, out of the chasm. And they've shifted now. And they're moving, right? A lot of us are in this chasm, and it's going to take longer, okay, to become aware of what's going on. and I guess this is where I'm just going to share with you what I've learned this morning, is I've realized that I fight my higher self a lot. A lot. I didn't know that till now. I now look back and realize that I have needed to build much more balance into my life. I know I have a balance lesson. I've known that from day one, but I've needed to do this more. Regular meditation, all the things that I said last time that I haven't been doing, for example, regularly, like I used to do. My meditation, my taking time for myself. And when I do take time for myself, not angsting over what's next and what I have to get done. This is coming full force to me. So this morning I realized, wow, the retreat for me, the silent retreat I went on, was very much in my face of the out in the wilderness way of living. And when I say that, I'm talking the wilderness of our soul, the part of us that we have not seen enough of over time. I am being drawn into that. And honestly, it's really interesting because I feel there's a part of me that feels like and again, this is the extreme part that may show up, feels like I need to just shut down my house and everything else and go somewhere for, I'm not kidding, like months, and live in silence and, like, honestly, some kind of ashram or something. I don't know if that's really what this means for me. I don't think it is, but there's something going on here that I am needing to reclaim in a very significant way, not in the little ways I thought I had done and I was over with all of that. Oh no. This is that last push of what they've been trying to tell you, they, meaning your higher self, been trying to tell you all along. We may not have fully taken in, that you've gotten inklings of, but as we do, we're not, this is a process we go through to being cracked open into the highest version of ourselves, the full expansion of us. And now for me, this is a big part of I have to learn to live in flow. I thought I was. I'm not. As I've mentioned in many past videos, I am very much driven. I'm very much an achiever. I am very much, let's create. My whole life I've been that way. This is breaking that down. And it's showing me that this can all be done in a very different way, and you can't do it the 3D way when 5D shows up, right? So again, very extreme shift and change may be coming your way. And in some cases, in a million years, you may never have understood that this was coming your way. Totally out of the blue. But if you look back, you're going to realize after you've gotten through this tough part, well, it probably wasn't out of the blue. Okay, so another symptom is you're going to have a total out of control feeling. And this can be extreme. I thought I was going to hyperventilate the other day. I came home Friday night, and this is Monday. I'm going to post this on Wednesday, the 11th. I came home. I felt amazing Friday night because I came back from a 2.5-day retreat, silent retreat. I felt in my element. Over the weekend, oh my gosh. All of a sudden the angst came back, out of control feeling. Well, guess what? I was being given information about what my next steps are, what I need to do more of. Why do you think they sent me to a silent retreat? This was my higher self. I never in a million years would have chosen that, right? It was what I needed, and it's part of who I am. And now I am being asked to reclaim that. So out of control, fully out of control feeling. And that's when we have to realize we're not in control. The human is not in control. And yet we're going to fight this tooth and nail because we don't know any other way, right? From one degree to the next. If you're not a control freak, great, but you're still going to find you're going to have this happen because we are used to this human journey, this 3D journey. And this is cracking us open to understand that's not what this is about. So knowing, oh, wow, that helped, that this is not about you having control. It's not, but you're going to feel that feeling. And I honestly thought I was going to hyperventilate this morning. And it was scary. And I don't ever feel things like that. But I am now being pushed to understand who I truly am so I can come out of the chasm that I apparently am in. All right, another symptom. The ripping away of the 3D way of how we work or live. Again, this is similar to some of the ones I've mentioned previously, but they're subtly different. It may be pulled away drastically from you. Suddenly, something huge happens in your life that says, okay, we're here. we had to do that. We had to rip that away from you, because this is your next step. And again, I'm not trying to freak anybody out here, because some of these things are, it's not life or death stuff, but it is scary because we get used to consistency in our life, and there are changes that we may never have envisioned ourselves making. And interestingly, at times, the changes might be things that we've judged others on. We were like, oh, well, I don't understand why they do that. And suddenly you find yourself moving in that direction, and it can be extremely profound. So it can be very much a ripping away of the 3D of what you've known. Okay, the next one is you are being called to do a thing, and you cannot stop it. It's a feeling, it's a knowing, and this is almost a little bit further along than, sitting fully in the chasm and going, I don't know. You're just feeling uncomfortable and out of control, and like you're going to hyperventilate, or you want to cry all day long, or like you're losing it. And this isn't just a day-long thing, okay? Typically, this is going to last a little bit. So I'm just going to inform you, if those of you go through this and it's just a day or two, wow. So again, that's actually probably another symptom. It lasts, okay? It's not just sitting there for a day or two. So again, you are called to do a thing, and you're compelled to do it. You can't stop doing it or moving in that direction. It's a feeling that you must go to do the thing. Well, guess what? I'm just going to tell you, it would be in your best interest to go do the thing. And you'll start feeling a greater calm, a greater sense of yourself, even if it feels so odd in the human mind that you would pick that thing to do or that shift to make. And along with this is another symptom. You can't not speak your truth. What comes out of your mouth is your full-on feelings, your full-on shift and change. You are speaking your truth about the thing that you are needing to go do differently, or that you're moving forward on, or that you're feeling, or that you're shifting on, as you come into more that conscious awareness. Again, what's real, and I'm not at this place yet, but I kind of am. Well, here's the situation, is they show me this. I haven't yet experienced it full on. So they're showing it to me so I can explain it to you, which is a little weird. I have super chills on that too. Wow. Okay. So the thing is, what's going to happen is this occurs, is you're going to find yourself, the human is going to be observing, watching, as we've talked about the observer before, as you're moving into that role, the higher self speaking, speaking. And it's a little strange at times where the human's going, wow, okay, this is just happening. I'm going along. And you're the observer. Okay. You're the observer, but you can't not speak your truth. You can't not act upon your truth, whatever that truth turns up to be. A lot of these symptoms come out emotionally in feelings. Okay. I've had less of the physical, although that's been there in the background, but there's a lot of emotion around, because remember what I've said in the past and that they've brought through is that whenever there's dissonance in us, it comes through in emotion, in feeling, depression, sadness, anger, frustration, guilt, you name it. Dissonance is not our normal way of living. And what this is doing is shifting us so that we feel these emotions. We feel these. This is the way our higher self speaks to us. It's sometimes the only way they can get to us is through our feelings, or things actually occurring. But feelings are huge. And that's your sign of making that shift and change. And when we ignore that, that's when kind of the bigger awarenesses need to be made. The more, hammer on the head. Oh God, now they're showing. Okay, so they're humorous. So do you know that, I guess it's a cartoon. I don't remember. Oh no, it's like a whack-a-mole. That's what they're showing me. Like the hammer, and they pound a little, I don't know, mole thing into the ground. What's that called? I don't know. Anyway, they're showing that like, that's what your heart self's going to do until you get it, right? Until you get it. So your angst and your feelings and helping figuring those out and identifying what those are is going to help you kind of understand, that there is a shift and change coming, but you can feel frustration, sadness, anger, all of this. And I've been feeling this the last 3 days as well. So one of the other big symptoms is suddenly you're losing motivation in your day-to-day routine that you thought was kind of your thing, right? Whether it be your job, your relationship, could be your entire life. And again, this sounds really dramatic, and honestly, I think it is. I'm just going to tell you, I think it is. But we're all going to get through this, and we just have to know we chose this. It's hard. Nobody said this journey's easy. Some of us are going to be at one degree or another and may just leap right out of that chasm, and you're like, whoa, here I go. Others of us may be sitting in the chasm going, oh my God, and this is me right now, with a little bit new awareness today, and realizing that our higher self is not going to let us not do the thing, okay? Not do the thing. We are being led to a higher and higher place, and this is that next shift to 5D, okay? Because you're going to let go of all this human stuff, this 3D stuff you're carrying along that no longer serves you, and this is what it's all about, all right? So you're losing your motivation for your routine. That either means that within that, what you're doing, you're going to have a shift and change. It doesn't mean you're going to throw everything away. You may have a huge shift and change. You may throw everything away. I don't know. Maybe you'll move to the far ends of the earth. Like sometimes I feel like I want to just travel for a whole year and that's all I do. And just, take all my savings and that's the end of that. And I'm left with nothing. I honestly feel like doing that sometimes, right? I have no idea. For all I know, my higher self is going to lead me there. I have no clue. I mean, that sounds a little extreme, but I'm going to tell you right now, this is where we're at. This is where we're at. Our higher self is ready to take us to the place that we are to be in our fullness. So you can pretty much be prepared for anything. Again, I'm a big adventurer. I'm a big explorer. I love change. And yet it's interesting how even this kind of shakes you. But this is the awakening, folks. This is the awakening. It shakes you. Even if you thought, I got this, I got this, I got this. And even if you've kind of had, I don't want to say an easy awakening because I don't think one exists. But what I have thought was fairly smooth awakening, although I suppose if I told my story to all the detail to everyone, they'd say, that doesn't sound pretty at all. But the point is that's kind of how I felt. Oh, no. Mm-mm. So it's this massive shift and change we're going through right now to take us to that next level. And it's unpleasant lots of times. It's eye-opening. It's teaches you, which is where I'm at today, that I have to let go. I have to let go. I cannot sit and wonder, and I'll just be really honest with you with examples. I can't sit and wonder, wow, where will I be 6 months from now with my business? Where will I be in a week? What videos am I going to do? What are my topics for the next 3 weeks? This may seem really minor. It's not though for me, okay? Because I'm a planner to a degree, and I haven't learned how to flow real well. And I think everybody knows that as we have our business or our work that in 3D, we do plan, we do strategize, we do kind of figure out what we're doing. And a lot of us are working in that world, the corporate world, the business world, the even if you have your own business, you still have deadlines to meet and things like that. And again, whether it's school, whether it's work, whether it's relationships, that's all intertwined in this. So as we start letting go and just letting things happen and be that observer of all these things, these symptoms that may show up of us moving out of that chasm, okay, being in that chasm and moving out, the easier it's going to be for us to be able to move that to the next phase. It's, okay, now they're showing, okay, they keep showing me these two sides, okay, with the chasm, not mountains, plateaus, and there's a chasm in between, like a valley, not a valley, a chasm, okay, like you're dropping off down to the bottom. Okay, and you're in that, right? But what they're showing now is a big hand coming down and reaching up and pulling you up. Well, guess what? That's because you've allowed the flow. And we've stepped into those feelings. We've not fought them. For me, I'll just use some examples. Well, it's raining today, so I'm not going to do this. But point is today, I need to go do what I want to do versus saying, oh, I'll do that later. So I went to yoga this morning. I stayed longer than I normally do. I should have stayed the whole hour, right? That would have been better for me. I didn't, but I stayed longer because here's me. I got stuff to do, but I was so much better about it today. And later today, I'm going to probably go make chutney. I know that sounds funny, but I've wanted to make chutney for the longest time. I don't do it because I think I don't have time, right? I'm going to go make chutney. Pineapple chutney, by the way. I'll let you know how that goes. Pineapple and mango. But anyway, these are things, these may seem super little, but they're not. They're the way to get us to where our higher self is wanting us to go. Following those signs and messages, because guess what? You're going to just be getting pounded down like the whack-a-mole until you figure it out. And you're going to stay in that chasm a whole heck of a lot longer. I don't know how long this lasts. I have no clue. I think it's different for everyone. I'm in it big time right now. And yet at the same time, huge revelation for me this morning as I breathed and stepped back and realized that the quiet times for me are super important. The idea of the monastery needs to stay with me. I need to incorporate the monastery into my life, in my private retreat, my silent retreat into my life more. That was a huge message for me. Don't ignore those big things that come your way during this time. Let it flow, bring it in, go do the thing. I don't care how silly people think it is or how nuts you think it is. It could be something super dramatic that will shift and change your life for the better, for the good, because our higher self always has our backs, even though the 3D human can't even imagine it in a million years. So with that today, I hope this has helped you, because again, these are symptoms that I have identified as being in that chasm from 3D to 5D, because first wavers, you're going through this now, one way or another, 1 degree or another. Know it and feel it. The energies are here. And hopefully some of these symptoms have helped you identify in yourself this is natural. You're not losing your mind, even though it's going to feel like it. And you're going to get through this. And we're all doing this together. So I appreciate your comments as always, because I learn from you guys. And you're a comfort to me too, because I don't got this. I get information, yes, all the time. I still, as a human, I have to go through this too. So thank you for sharing. And I get back with you when I can. I try to always respond to the messages. So again, I appreciate you joining me today. Like, share, and subscribe for more of this content. And as always, visit purplerainhealing.com for my services. Channeling that I do throughout all of my services, which includes distance energy healing, spiritual awakening mentoring, where I help you through your awakening journey and we travel it together, as well as 3 varieties of channeled messages, including Celeste and Me, where we travel through your soul journey and offer you an hour-long recorded session on information that will help you through your awakening and ascension journey. So with that today, thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you well in your awakening journey.